Actually, it's good afternoon. How is your day going? Did it rain at your house like it did at my house today? Today was a cold day. Papa Rod and I got out in the yard and weeded the raspberries. And I'm so glad we did yesterday because today it was too cold and muddy. You don't want to weed when it's muddy. No, you get your knees all wet and clothes all dirty, cold. So it's good to get the work done on nice days. So on days like this, we can do things like tell stories and read together. Well, today, before I start, I want to ask you if you got the answer to my riddle about the spider. Do you remember my question about the spider? Is a spider an insect? The answer to that is, how many legs does a spider have? 6? No, a spider has 8. 8 legs. And that makes a spider an arachnoid. It's a very different, it's a bug, but it's not an insect. And they also do not chew their food. Did you know that? When you get your magnifying glass out this summer, you can go up to a spider web with a spider and you can get pretty close and you can see how different they are. Count their legs and look at their eyes. They have very neat eyes too. And they'll usually not move if they're in their web. If you get close, you don't want to touch them, but you can get pretty close with a magnifying glass and see a lot. Well, we're done with insects and spiders, but now I'm going to go ahead and go on to something different. This is going to be what we're talking about today. Do you know what this is? Have you ever seen one of these? It's called a radish. Do you like radishes? I just had one and I bought this one at the store and it was crisp and delicious. And it has a root right here that gets what it needs from the ground. Look how long that root is. It's like a big straw, isn't it? Actually, this is part of the root too. And then this is actually the plant up here. And we can actually eat these leaves, but they're not real good unless you like really peppery, hot things. But some plants, we do eat their leaves. But I think what you would like the most from this plant is this part right here. We call these root vegetables because we eat the roots of the plant. The leaves bring in the sun and the warm sunshine and they feed the root. And this part's actually under the ground like this. So all you see on top of the ground is those leaves. Everything else is down below, growing bigger and bigger. And when it gets about this big, you want to pull it out and wash it off and eat it. And did you know that these plants come from seeds? Look at my seeds. This is a basil seed, and that's an herb like this. And herbs are good. They make our food taste really good. And this is a beet seed. Have you ever eaten a beet? A beet looks like a big radish, but it tastes nothing like radishes. They're about the size of an egg or even a baseball. And they're good cooked with butter and pepper. And then we have the seed of the lettuce. Look how different they are. Aren't they different? Yeah. They look like little bugs. And when you put lettuce and radishes together, you can make a salad. That's right. And I just made myself a little garden using that wood carton. And what I did is I took eggshells after I'd had my breakfast egg, and I put them back in the carton, and I filled these with dirt. See my dirt bag here? I use a spoon. I get a little dirt out. It's about 2 spoonfuls of dirt. You can see how to do that in each one of these, maybe 3. And then you take your seeds and you spread them out very carefully. Sprinkle them in, just maybe 3 or 4 at a time. And you tap, tap, tap them in there, and then you take a little bottle, a little spray bottle of water. Maybe your mommy could help you do a garden like this, and you just use a little pump spray or anything like that to spray it every day and keep it inside a big plastic bag that will let light through, and you can pretty soon see little plants start coming up. And when those little plants get about this high, then you can put them out in the garden or in a bigger pot outside, and you can grow your very own little vegetable garden. Wouldn't that be fun? So that might be a little project you and your mommy and daddy would want to work on this spring and get those ready, because it's a little cold to put plants out right now. Plants like it to be pretty warm, and it's going to rain so much they probably drowned over in this part of the country. But if you start them like this, by the time the weather gets nice and cozy warm and the nights aren't too cold, they'll be already started and ready to go, and you'll get some vegetables really quickly for your table. But that is a miracle, isn't it? What God puts inside those little seeds, isn't that just a miracle? He made a beautiful, beautiful world. We sometimes mess that world up, but it's not because God didn't start with a good world. And we're grateful for the miracle He did, and the miracle inside those little seeds. Isn't that just a miracle? Our story today is not about things living, though. Our story today is actually kind of sad. It's about someone dying. And you know, I like the fact that the Bible tells us the whole story, not just what we want to think, what we want to hear about. This is about a man named Ananias. And you see Peter there, Pastor Peter. He's just been helping people at church, and people have been bringing money to help the needs of the church so they can tell more people about Jesus. And this man, Ananias, came in with money, and he did something very bad. Let's see what he did. See the man lying on the floor? He is dead. The man standing is Peter. Pastor Peter was sitting there, and the man came in and told him a lie. Now, Peter didn't kill him. He was struck dead by God because he told not just Peter and all the church a lie, he told God a lie. He pretended to do something for God he didn't really do. He was a very bad example. As soon as he told that lie, he fell down dead. God punished him because he told a lie to Peter and to all the people in God's people and to God himself. And I don't think God wanted people to think that that was okay. Soon the people will carry him outside and make a hole and put him in it and cover him up, just like we did those seeds. But he won't live because of it. Oh my, what does that say about telling the truth? Do you think God cares about the truth? Do you think God wants us to be people of truth? We have a very important message for the world, don't we? We do not want to be known as people who lie. People need to believe what we say. We need to have a reputation of being truthful. Here's our questions. Why is the man there on the floor? Because he lied to God and to the church. Did he tell a lie to God? Yes, he did. And this story is found in Acts 5, 1 through 11. So let's be careful that we practice being people of truth. And if you're tempted to tell lies now because you want people to like you or you don't want to get punished, think about Ananias and decide, do I want to be a person of truth or do I want to be a person who lies? Ananias probably started telling lies when he was just a little boy. Yeah. And for some reason, he was still telling lies when he was a man. We don't want to grow up like that, do we? No. Jesus, help us to be people of the truth. Help us to understand the treasure of truth that we carry to the world. Lord, we know you don't want, it's not your pleasure to kill people. That's not what you like to do. And we just pray, God, that we would Be a good example to those around us, not a bad example, so we can live with you forever and enjoy you forever.